How we doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Getting Jiggy With It. I'm Will, and today we're going to open up another Marvel Champions pack expansion. Now, what's an expansion? And it's a pack, so an expansion pack. If you watch our previous videos, we did already play against the Green Goblin as well as the base set. Those videos are all up on YouTube, so you can subscribe and go watch those videos. After you're done this one, YouTube doesn't like it when you leave in the middle of a video, so I don't know why all of us tell you to go watch another. I digress. But with today, what we're going to do is open up and go through the Marvel Champions Green Goblin Scenario Pack. So this is an expansion, of course, for Marvel Champions. You will need the base game to be able to play this because the scenario cards and there's no heroes. So you won't have any heroes in here. Even if you bought hero expansions, for example, like we have here, we have Miss Marvel, Gamora, Star-Lord. Even if you bought these, you still won't be able to play. And if you want to see these openings, we'll be doing videos on those as well. But today, we're doing Green Goblin. So it is a scenario pack. This one, unlike some of the other scenario packs, you actually get 2 scenarios, 14 plus, 1 to 4 players, 45 to 90 minutes. So they're saying about an hour and a half. Now, that is bearing in mind a couple things. One, skill level, which me and Avdi usually don't have the best, so we're kind of those noob players. You guys can come watch us to see how you might be able to play if you're not familiar with these games, because of course we are new to it as well. But it also depends on the deck construction that you do and the aspects. So for example, if you watch our Green Goblin playthrough, we only made it through rookie mode and it took us about an hour and a half. So we didn't even get to beat standard because we weren't using very optimal decks together. We were using Justice and Protection, I believe. But here we go. So this is the Green Goblin expansion. It contains 2 scenarios, Risky Business and Mutagen Formula. And then they do mark the bottom of each one. It gives you a little thing telling you how to use the encounters, a little bit of flavor text, how to set up the specific rules, because the rules do change slightly for each one of the villains. A little bit of strategy down here. And then the same thing with Mutagen Formula. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this here. So if you saw the unboxing of the core set, you'll see we did have those dividers. These are what those cards looked like before I put them in the top loaders to make the dividers. But of course, these here, I'll go ahead and turn these into dividers as well. So that way, once I do that, then I can just take all this out, put it in with the main game. The main game box, from what I've heard, most people have been able to get all the villains and heroes to date in just the core box, plus the one of the 2 expansions, either the Rise of the Red Skull or Galaxy's Most Wanted. So let's go ahead and get this first set of cards out here. Did we get it all? Yep. All right. So here we go. So this is one of the Modifier Decks. So a mess of things. 5 cards. So you get a side scheme. You get Scorpion as a minion that'll get added to the deck. They add a mess of things, adds another Dang Up card. So this is also in the standard deck, if I remember correctly. Tail Sweep, so another Treachery card. So you get 2 of those. And then, because, you know, why would anything be in the correct order for us on this unboxing? We want to make things as difficult as possible. So this one here, this is the Mutagen Formula. This one we have not played. It is supposed to be one of the harder decks, so we'll probably play this one. I think on the list I've got it probably about 4 or 5 playthroughs from now. So you do have Green Goblin, level 1. Unlike the other one, which we're going to go over, which is the Risky Business, there is no Norman Osborn. It is just straight Green Goblin. So actually, that could make this easier, because you don't have to do the flip back and forth, or at least maybe if not easier, take less time. And then there is his level 2, and then his level 3 if you want to play on Expert. And then Unleashing the Mutagen. So these are the recommended setup, but of course it says 1 modular. They recommend Goblin Gimmicks. And then you put Goblin Thrall minion into play engage with each player. So this one, right from the start, you're going to start with a minion. Ultron, I believe, is very similar. You start with an Ultron drone. For the main scheme, that's not too bad. It's 22. So that takes a lot. Now, I don't know. Let's see here. What's X is equal to the number of... Okay, so the number of goblin enemies is how far this goes up. Now, it does start with a high amount because it's going to be 4 times the number of people. So in our case, that would be 8 from the beginning. And then that is, okay, because that's, I'm sorry, that's B. So that's if he beats A. Yeah, if he beats number 1, then you go to number 2. So actually, number 1 is 14. Okay, and then that's normal. All right. But if you go to B, yeah, it's definitely like not a good time for you. And then you have your Goblin Glider. So he has Goblin Glider attachment. What's he get to do? Highest, attach to the enemy with highest points. If you cannot do it, what's it do? Oh, +1 attack. My finger's covering up, guys. My finger's here. +1 attack. And then this one here, forced to interrupt when Goblin schemes or attacks give him additional. Okay, so that is an attachment. It boosts his scheme and attack. Pumpkin Bombs. After a villain attacks, you discard Pumpkin Bombs. You take 2 indirect, which means you cannot stop that damage. And then his minions, you get a Goblin Knight. A couple Goblin Soldiers. Goblin Soldier, there you go. So you get 4 Goblin Soldiers. Goblin Thrall. Okay, so this is what gets attached to you at the beginning of the game. So he's a 1/1, so they're not that bad. 3 hit points, again, isn't too hard. A lot of your base cards are going to be able to do 3 damage to them. But of course, you cannot attack Green Goblin while he is out there with that guard effect. So there's plenty of those because you need to have a minimum of 4, right? Because if you're playing a 4-player game. And then it's like, yeah, we'll just throw in a couple more for good measure in the deck. And then Monster. I don't know who Monster is. I'm not familiar with Monster. I don't know who she is. I'm going to have to actually look that up. I'm not familiar with this character. I'm in about 2017 reading time frame. This looks like a more recent art. So I'm going to have to look her up to see who she is in the comics. All right? And then this is his side scheme. So he has a side scheme that increases your encounter, another side scheme that increases the encounter, a side scheme that each goblin enemy gets an additional attack. That's the first time I'm seeing that. Wow, a side scheme that makes it go up by 2. That makes your threat go up by 2. 2 of those. Okay, now I'm seeing why this is a more difficult deck. That is the most I've seen of a lot of these types of elements. Normally you get like 1 of each of these side schemes. That's a lot of extra. And then you get Treachery. When Green Goblin schemes X times, where X equals the villain's stage number. Oh, wow, okay. So that increases as the game gets more difficult. Treachery, when revealed, if you're an alter ego, do not give the villain boost card for this activation. Huh? When Green Goblin attacks you, if you're... Okay. When revealed, Green Goblin... Okay, when this is revealed, Green Goblin, okay, attacks you. If you're an alter ego form, do not give the villain a boost card for this activation. I'm kind of confused because you would do this, right? You would do this. Oh, I guess he attacks you no matter what, even if you're not in hero form. But if you're an alter ego form, then he's not going to get that extra boost card, which uses, you know, these down there at the bottom. Okay. Overconfidence. Oh, he's Norman. Very weird looking Norman. Gets a 3 threat placed. Wicked Ambitions. When revealed, discard X cards, where X is equal to the number of the villain stage. So a lot of that based on staging in this deck. So again, the further you've let him get ahead, the more bad stuff that's going to happen. All right, so we'll go ahead. We'll do the next one here. So this is the one that me and Audrey played on the channel. So if you want to see how this one particularly works, you can watch that video. Of course, we've got that up. But if this one here, Norman Osborn, so 1, basically what happens is he cannot attack, if you notice. Instead, he's going to increase what's called infamy. And then when he is in Green Goblin form, he can't scheme. Instead, he's going to remove his madness. So, of course, Norman Osborn, the Goblin Serum makes him crazy. And same thing, you have a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. So, you know, regular, well, rookie, standard, expert, and then there's a super heroic. There's a level above expert, but I don't know if we would ever even try that. Like, rookie and standard seem difficult enough for us. So, hostile takeover, so he's trying to take over Stark Industries. And if you see us play this, you notice that, but basically you place 1 infamy counter on criminal enterprise, then discard. So that's if he completes this. Luckily, he never got that far in rookie mode. because we kept this really low, which might have been part of the reason it took us longer. We were focusing more on keeping this low rather than having it go to this stage, which, you know, we'd get up to 20 threat, but that extra event card, we were not looking forward to that. All right, and then so State of Madness. So this is the card I was talking about. So this is the normal Criminal Enterprise. This is going to keep his infamy, and then this side is going to track his madness. You just put counters on it to track that. Flip it over when he goes from Norman to the Green Goblin. Side scheme, so stops us from being able to complete his or remove threat from his main scheme. Of course, because it is Norman, you're going to have a lot of things that are just basically security, so guarding him. Mad Genius, things that are going to increase or decrease things. In this case, he gets to attack the hero with the fewest remaining hit points, or if you are in Osborne form, then we have to discard the top card of our deck based on infamy. We had that happen a lot, and so we had it at times where I think Oddity did once, she had to discard 6, and I had once I had to discard 6. That comes in very important. Now, we missed this rule, but if you have to reshuffle your deck, you have to take another encounter card. So we missed that, but that would actually directly impact you quite a bit because you're going to be taking extra cards because he made you do that. All in a day's work, so play Symphony. If you can't play Symphony, remove Madness. So all of it's going to be around doing those things. Side scheme with an extra event card. And when we put these back in, we did not organize them, but that's fine. So here that increases threat if you get that side scheme out. Same thing, hired guns. He's just hiring people to help him. Choose either to give. Now we had this happen, which was kind of weird because normally it says if you can't do the infamy, do the madness, but he was already on the madness side. So it's either choose to give the villain 1 face down boost card or place 2 infamy counters on Criminal Enterprise. So I chose to place 2 infamy counters, but we couldn't because it wasn't on that side. Now I don't know if that's the rule, but it told me to choose. I chose what couldn't be accomplished. So I'm taking that as what it is. The FAQ probably explains we did that wrong because why would we play anything in the game correctly? So same thing, so you have a second one of those. I think the rest are duplicates. Yep. So as you saw, like in this one, for example, there were only 2 of each of these, where in Mutagen Formula there were 3, plus there were 3 different side schemes, each worse than the last. Now, in playing Risky Business, they recommend the same thing. They recommend the Goblin Gadgets. I mentioned in our playthrough that Hall of Heroes, which is a good Marvel Champion site. If you haven't seen that site, go check it out. But they mentioned a good alternative was Norman's hiring somebody. So use one of the other decks because the Goblin Gadgets only make sense when he's in Goblin form, not when he's in Norman form. Because all the rest of his cards, like I said, are basically henchmen, hired thugs. So we went with Power Drain, which uses Electro. Now, one thing that I know we did incorrectly is on this, when you defeat this, then we were each supposed to discard 2 encounter cards. So, and then it says discard 2 cards from the encounter deck. We didn't do that. And then each player must discard 1 resource from their hand for each boost icon discarded this way. So we didn't do that. So when you discard the 2, you're going to have these boost icons at the bottom to tell us how many we were supposed to remove from our hand. We missed that step. Again, I don't think it would have made that big of a difference, but this one did happen to us where we basically take indirect damage from his lightning. Shock Therapy, discard 1 times the number of players' cards from the encounter deck, and then the villain heals damage. So that's actually not so good. Especially in this, actually, now that I think about it, that's not good because we had a hard enough time getting him into Goblin form to take him out. So, Electromagnetic Pulse, discard 7 cards from the encounter deck. The Electro was discarded, you put him into play. And then Goblin Gimmicks, so these are the ones that they recommend to play default in these decks, but it's all about Norman's gimmicks, right? The Green Goblin's gimmicks. Attach, and you get some additional attack power. Attached to a villain again. Forced, after the villain attacks, you discard Pumpkin Bombs and take 2 indirect damage. Basically, instead of adding to the attack, we're just going to take 2 non-blockable damage. Intimidate, choose either to spend 2 resources Then you type or give the villain one face down boost card for the next time he attacks. Regenerate health, again, not very good. We do not want him healing. And then the third or the final mod that comes in this deck is running interference. So again, another one where you could basically use it as a hired henchman. The only thing is Tombstone's like a mob boss. So that kind of doesn't fit thematically any way you look at it. So this would probably just work better in a deck where you have a bigger villain. You know, I don't think the Green Goblin's going to be telling a mob boss what to do. But you get a stopper, right? So this is a panic crisis. You can't do anything else until then with the main scheme. And then Tombstone, after Tombstone attacks, discard a science or an attack resource. So you have to discard when he attacks. He basically makes us drop a resource. Attached character cannot change forms. Wow, and you got to spin to remove it. When revealed, the ability to reveal one additional time. Resolve each when revealed ability that you reveal one additional time. Oh, okay. So one of the when revealed on the treachery cards. Oh, that's not good. And you get 2 of those. All right. So there you go, guys. That is the deck or the decks for the scenarios and the modifications for the Green Goblin Scenario Pack. If you want to see some more unboxing of these or any particular gameplay, make sure that you hit that subscribe and bell notification to know when we go live, when we're going to be playing these. And until next time, guys, peace.